Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Following all the news which have been reported by American, European, Canadian, Asian, African, and Australian channels and AFP, AP, Reuters news agencies. Now, please watch the news headlines.
Tonight, President Trump's sweeping tariffs take effect. Americans now bracing for higher prices. The president imposing the highest tariffs in nearly a century on almost every U.S. trading partner. Dozens of countries now paying between 10 and 50% more to ship their goods into the U.S. President Trump insisting it will boost American manufacturing. But economists warning American buyers will likely pay the higher costs on everything from food to clothing to electronics. Mary Bruce at the White House. The images coming in tonight, the fiery mid-air scare on board a passenger jet over the Atlantic, a mobile charger catching fire. Two state troopers ambushed, responding to a call, both wounded. One trooper applying a tourniquet to another. What we've just learned about the alleged shooter. The deadly crash of a helicopter into a barge on the Mississippi River. At least two people killed. Part of the river temporarily closed. 24 hours after the chaotic shooting at Fort Stewart, the Army Secretary awarding medals to 6 soldiers unarmed when they jumped into action, taking down the suspected gunman and treating the wounded. Overseas tonight, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he's pushing forward with his plan to temporarily take control of Gaza, what this could mean for hostages still held by Hamas. Late today, President Trump pressed about his possible meeting with Vladimir Putin as early as next week, trying to end the war in Ukraine. After first suggesting Putin and President Zelensky must meet first, what he said just moments ago in the Oval Office. Multiple wildfires and record-breaking heat, temperatures up to 118 degrees in the West. Singer and talk show host Kelly Clarkson's personal loss, her ex-husband dying after battling cancer, her Las Vegas residency postponed so she can be with her children. And a new study on weight loss drugs. Is a daily pill more effective than the weekly shot? From ABC News World Headquarters in New York. Bill, thank you. Let's bring in the host of the Aaron Cohen Show, podcast Israeli Special Ops veteran Aaron Cohen, along with Rabbi Chaim Mentz from the Chabad of Bel Air in L.A., who just landed in L.A. from Israel a few hours ago. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming on. Aaron, to you first. I want to play one more quick soundbite. Bill Hemmer talking with Netanyahu. This one's important. Watch this. Will Israel take control of all of Gaza?
We intend to, in order to assure our security, remove Hamas there, enable the population to be free of Gaza, and to pass it to civilian governance. That is not Hamas and not anyone advocating the destruction of Israel.
Aaron Cohen, what does a takeover look like in Gaza?
So, Trace, here's where I'm at with without the hostages, Hamas is a broken terror organization waiting to be destroyed. You take away the hostages, there's nothing left. And here's what I think Prime Minister Netanyahu is signaling right now. This is going to be a big strategic and tactical push. It's going to be violent. There's going to be tons and tons of force put on northern Gaza, Gaza City, where those hostages are. Really what it comes down to, in my opinion, is pressure creates fresh intelligence. The moment the intelligence starts to roll again, the 20 hostages that Bibi just referred to, Israel needs to get in there and grab every one of them via the Amam, Seyret, Matkal, and start getting those hostages out. But they need intel and they need kinetic boots on the ground. The moment the hostages are extracted, it's game over for Hamas. The cameras are over. Now it's time to hand Gaza over to some Arab leadership and let them start ruling that place. I believe this is about pressure to create diamonds.
Rabbi, Netanyahu says you have to get rid of Hamas. He calls them monsters. You just got back. What do you think of this plan?
Well, it's a great plan, and it has to be done because Hamas cannot continue living, because then every 2-3 years we're going to have another war. The problem is, if you listen to the last things that he said was, once we clean up everything, we're going to give it over to other people. In 2005, just 20 years ago this week, we gave them the entire Gaza. We trusted the civilians, go vote a government, and we got Hamas. Biggest mistake Israel's ever done.
Right.
Why can't Israel go all the way? Take it over. And why do I say that? Speaker of the House Johnson was right now in Israel. He was on the West Bank, and he openly said Judea and Samaria should be Israel, because lying. of entering into Israel. He was already talking annexing that.
And it's notable that in Gaza they were given billions and billions of dollars from all around the world. They were said, build an infrastructure, build whatever you want, and they built a war machine underground to go after Israel. Aaron Cohen, why is it that Israel is never allowed to win? Always got to be declared a draw, and then the fighting starts again in 5 or 6 years or 10 years.
Trace, it's a good question. I think that's the international community's way of sort of controlling Israel. They want them strong enough to be able to defend themselves, but weak enough to not be able to get too strong in the region. But my real answer is Israel has won every time. Have a look at what happened. You come in, you kill 1,200 of our civilians, you rape, you pillage, you film it, you stick it online, you broadcast it live. Have a look at Gaza. I'm not apologizing for what Israel did. I believe the Prime Minister did the right thing. Everything was booby-trapped. The entire place is finished. Now he's going to go in, take out the last 25%, get the hostages out, stop apologizing, let more guys like Emmer get in there and get the cameras in there, expose all the lies, which has already been exposed at this point, but it's time to move on, and it's time to get the hostages out.
Yep, and that's the whole thing is you're talking about a lot of countries saying, oh, Palestine should get statehood. Israel's being condemned for the start. They should get statehood. Here's you with Ambassador Mike Huckabee here. You just got back. The rabbi was noticed here. Your big takeaway is you spent a couple of weeks over there. Rabbi, what's the big takeaway as you come home?
First of all, I got to thank the ambassador. He gave me a full hour. We discussed many things. He asked great questions, and we were discussing it. One of the things he said was, if you really, really love your children, you don't want them killed. In Berlin, there were bunkers. In England, there was bunkers to hide people from the bombing. He said, there's 500 miles of tunnels down there. Bring your children there. No, you don't want them there. You want them dead. Why? Because it makes Israel look bad. He has so many ideas on how to bring this to an end. One of the things he did say to me is, Qatar is the key element.
Canada's athletic excellence this Thursday night. Teenage tennis phenom Victoria Mboko's biggest match yet.
Hopefully she wins.
And a rare honor bestowed upon NBA superstar Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Israeli Prime Minister's intention to seize control of Gaza, what would happen to Palestinians, and who is pushing back. Allegations of mistreatment at a facility that's supposed to help troubled teenagers.
I left a lot more traumatized than I went in there.
Global News investigates. Plus, I double dog dare you. The little dog that took on this large home intruder. Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin with a stunning victory by Canada's newest tennis star. 18-year-old Victoria Mboko, who never expected to be in the final, has beaten a former world #1 player at the Canadian Open Tennis Tournament in Montreal. With power and unflinching determination, the teenager from Toronto was at the top of her game, defeating Naomi Osaka from Japan. Here's the moment.
When I was younger, these kinds of achievements seem so far away, but I would have never known it would come so close. So, to do something like
Trade war, the biggest Tonight, the major new escalation in the trade war, the biggest import tariff in nearly a century. Why some American businesses are cheering the move, but others are set to pass on billions in costs to American consumers. Which prices could be rising soon? Plus, a fireball and dark plumes of smoke fill the air on the banks of the Mississippi. A helicopter tangled on power lines, crashing onto a barge below. This just in, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calling for the Israeli military to take control of all of Gaza, and new reporting, Israeli troops gathering on the Gaza border. The stage set for a high-stakes meeting between President Trump and Vladimir Putin. What the Russian leader is saying, and why it's not a done deal just yet. When a sergeant opened fire at Fort Stewart, they jumped in to save lives. How these soldiers' training kicked in. And our first video of the accused gunman. 52 million under heat alerts. You won't believe how hot it is in Arizona right now as people flock to cooling centers. Danger on on the tracks, the van getting stuck at a railroad crossing as a train comes barreling through. And the Texas Longhorn football walk-on getting mobbed by his teammates after the big news from a Hollywood star. His hard work earning him a scholarship. More on this incredible moment. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with...
We could soon have a new option for weight loss. It's going to be significantly less expensive, and it does not have to be injected. It's a pill.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois. John Dickerson is off. You see them every day and every night on your television. Commercials that literally sing the praises of weight loss drugs. One problem, though, the most popular of them need to be injected. But today, Eli Lilly reported positive results from a new obesity medication that is easier to take because it comes in a pill. It is expected to be less expensive as well, and the drug maker will be asking for government approval to bring it to market. Our chief medical correspondent, Dr. John LaPook, tells us about this drug. John.
The drug is called Orforglipron, and today drug maker Eli Lilly said things are looking good for their latest version of a weight loss drug, one that would be available as a pill. People who took the pill for about a year and a half lost an average of more than 12% of their body weight, about 27 pounds.
So it's easier to make, doesn't have to be refrigerated. It's going to be significantly less expensive to produce.
Since April, we've been checking in with Dr. Louis Aroni, who's been treating obesity for 35 years and is a consultant for Eli Lilly, the maker of this new pill.
The advent of small molecule drugs to treat obesity is a big deal. This is transformational.
Any sense of what the price will be of this new oral medication?
When the cost of making it is so much lower, I would expect it's going to be less than $500 a month.
What about supply? I know there's been shortages in the past of the injectables.
It should be much easier to scale up.
Monthly prescriptions of drugs that can be used for weight loss have more than tripled in the last 2 years to more than 7 million.
Zepbound is for adults with obesity to help lose weight and keep it off.
Eli Lilly, which also makes the injectable GLP-1 drug Zepbound, is in a head-to-head battle with Wegovy maker Novo Nordisk, which has already applied to the FDA for approval of its own weight loss pill. We all love to take a pill rather than really dramatically changing our lifestyle, right? Do you have any misgivings about that being sort of the philosophy?
The reason I don't have misgivings about people taking medicine to lose weight is that in 35 years of doing this, I've tried literally every kind of treatment, every kind of diet. None of it works as well as using medicine along with those strategies.
Side effects are similar to the injectable food.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Bennett. Amna Nabaz is away. On the News Hour tonight, the global economy reacts as steep U.S. tariffs against nearly 100 countries take effect. Prime Minister signals that Israel now intends to take over all of Gaza. And we report from Louisiana, where patients and the healthcare providers they rely on are bracing for the impact of new Medicaid requirements.
My son won't be able to get the services he needs to thrive. I won't be able to get the services I need and I'll be healthy.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In Gaza, at least 4 Palestinians have starved to death over the past 24 hours, bringing the total number related deaths. World Food Program warned immediate Gaza to prevent starving the Miramar. Palestinian must the baby.
Reached this state. His bones are visible. The signs of death appeared on him.
This comes as Israeli settlers have attacked aid convoys coming from Jordan twice in recent days. During one of the attacks, settlers were filming Penn's name be wiped out, unquote. Over the past day, Israeli attacks killed at least 90 Palestinians across Gaza, including 51 aid seekers. Well, Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, has called for the closure of the Israeli U.S.-backed aid centers in Gaza. The so-called orchestrated killing and dehumanization, unquote. Some 1,400 Palestinians have been killed since access food since the so-called Humanitarian Foundation took aid delivery. In a statement, MSF said, quote,
Good morning. Breaking news overnight as Israel's war cabinet approves plans to take control of Gaza City.
Meaning the IDF could invade Gaza City within hours in the biggest escalation since the massacre of October the 7th.
We want to liberate ourselves and liberate the people of Gaza from the awful terror of Hamas.
What exactly is Israel planning to do with Palestinians who call the area home?
Humiliation for the government as Homelessness Minister Rishnara Ali quits over an eviction row. But could it threaten Labour's Renters' Rights Bill?
Bournemouth residents up in arms. This revealed 3 hotels in the heart of the city are handed over to asylum seekers.
A TV News exclusive reveals a Labour group is under fire after it promoted an asylum hotel counter-protest.
The deadline brought on Donald Trump's deadline for Russia to agree an end to the Ukraine war.
Should cabin bag charges be scrapped? We're debating that this morning as social media users rage at budget airlines and their baggage policies during the summer season.
And in sport this morning, 5 Lionesses are up for the coveted Ballon d'Or award, whilst Manchester United outcast Scott McTominay. He's been nominated after a great season with Napoli. Not ideal to
Hello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Morning to you. 6 o'clock on today's show, Israel's security cabinet approves plans to take full military control of Gaza City in an escalation of the war.
This as the Foreign Secretary David Lammy prepares to meet the US Vice President in Kent.
And in sport, the Canadian teen tennis sensation Victoria Imboka has claimed her first WTA title victory at the Canadian Open.
Plenty of all of that to come on Friday, the 8th of August. Benjamin Netanyahu's plans for Israel's army to expand its operation in Gaza are given by his demonstrations throughout the night from families of those still held hostage, with fears it could put their loved ones in danger. Also to come, President Trump's deadline for Russia to agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine enters its final day, with the leaders set to meet soon. Plus, restriction zones to be introduced to limit movement of violent and sexual offenders, providing more protection for victims. And the homelessness minister resigns after claims she booted tenants out before rent.
And in sports, Benjamin Šeško will have a medical at Manchester United today after they agreed a deal to sign the striker from RB.
Good morning to you. We saw a breaking news. Security Cabinet has approved plan.
And ABC iView.
Today, the foreign minister not mincing words, urging Israel to use restraints after Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet approves a full takeover of Gaza City. Triple murderer Erin Patterson's police interview after the deadly mushroom lunch released by the court. A convicted MP resigns from the New South Wales Parliament ahead of a vote on expelling him. And the US and Russian presidents prepare to hold face-to-face talks as Donald Trump's deadline for a ceasefire in Ukraine nears. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ros Childs.
Israel's Security Cabinet has approved a plan for a military takeover of Gaza City in a major escalation of the war. According to Israeli media, the office of the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed the plan for the military occupation of Gaza City, but hasn't indicated when an assault would start. No further details.
This is DW News, and these are our top stories. The White House and the Kremlin have confirmed plans for a meeting between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump to discuss a ceasefire in Ukraine. Putin says the United Arab Emirates could host the talks, but has ruled out including Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. Washington says the summit could take place as early as next week. In Israel, thousands have joined protests as the Security Cabinet met to discuss expanding military operations in Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel intends to control the entire territory. Relatives of hostages being held by Hamas chained themselves up outside Netanyahu's offices, saying the focus should be on bringing their loved ones home. Authorities in France say emergency crews have contained the biggest wildfire in decades. The blaze in the southern Aude region destroyed forests and villages in an area bigger than Paris. One person was killed and 18 injured. Strong winds and dry vegetation fanned the flames. This is DW News from Berlin. You'll find much more on our website, dw.com.
Escape from justice. Watch Arrêt des Arts with Valérie Fayol on France 24 and France24.com.
Welcome back. Here on France in the early hours this Friday. Israel's Security Cabinet approves a plan to take over Gaza City. Friday marks the deadline. Donald Trump and Francis burning an area bigger than the size of Paris.
Africa News. The news. Near Polokwane in South Africa's northern Limpopo province last year. Women's bodies into the pigsty by the farm owner, BBC reported Thursday. He was released by the court Wednesday. The vet will pin farm of Zakaria Johannes Olivier and another father who is yet to enter plea. Relatives of the dead women have expressed outrage at the prosecution's decision, calling it a denial of justice. The case has elicited uproar in South Africa, where racial tensions remain high. Owns most of the private farmland in the country, where black people work low-paid jobs. The trial, which opened on Monday, is set to resume on October 6. Zambia's government spokesman Cornelius Mwedwa pushed back against claims of contamination by the US Embassy, telling a press conference in Lusaka Thursday that teams had cleaned up the affected area using lime to reduce acidity levels. It followed a US Embassy alert Wednesday, which warned of others and carcinogenic substances in an area in northern Zambia affected by a spill from a copper processing plant in February. The spill happened when a dam that holds acidic and heavy metals waste at a Chinese-run mine failed, resulting in some 50 million liters of toxic materials flowing into the Kafue River. The US Embassy warned against any travel to the area and said it was recalling staff from the affected region. But Zambia's government said that laboratory tests had confirmed that acidity levels were back to normal and that danger to human, animal and plant life had been averted. Mining accidents are common in Zambia, a major copper producer.
The 8 state officials who died in a helicopter crash in Ghana were received with military honors at the airbase in Accra Wednesday evening. The country's defense and environment ministers, alongside the ruling party vice chair and national security and 4 crew members. The bodies of the victims arrived at the Accra airbase at 9 p.m. and were received by government representatives led by the president's chief of staff. A brief religious ceremony was held following traditional protocol. The 8 coffins were draped in the national flag and then taken by car to the morgue.
First form on the right.
Ghana's government has declared a 3-day mourning period to honor the victims. The 8 state officials were killed on Wednesday on their way to an official event tackling illegal mining when their helicopters went off the radar. The wreckage was later found in the central Ashanti region with no survivors. The cause of the crash is still unknown.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin says a possible meeting next week with his US counterpart Donald Trump could take place in the United Arab Emirates. He made the announcement after meeting with its president in Moscow. We have many friends who are willing to help us organize events like this. Here, one of these people is the president of the UAE. I think we will decide, but this would be one of the possible, quite suitable places. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov says the men will meet in the coming days in what would be the first summit between leaders of the 2 countries since 2021. The news comes on the eve of Washington's deadline for Moscow to show progress towards ending its war in Ukraine or face heavy economic sanctions. The last time Putin and Trump met was in Helsinki in 2018 during the US president's first term in office. The talks would be a significant milestone towards Trump's efforts to end the war. There's no guarantee it would stop the fighting. In the Adolf-Tindir province, the Bulgaria Association with the partnership with the commune as organized a vibrant collective wedding festival blending tradition, solidarity, and social support. Held under the banner of cultural preservation, the event brought together local couples, residents, and members of Moroccan diaspora to celebrate marriage customs passed down through generations. These are our authentic tradition that we have preserved for many years and continue to celebrate each year with pride and honor. It takes place in the atmosphere of tolerance and solidarity. The celebration featured traditional Amazigh music, symbolic gift giving, and colorful performances, turning
Thank you for watching Amish Shakil 5858. I am Amish Shakil. I hope you will visit again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.